San Quentin State Prison, California, September 22nd, 1978, 2:00 p.m. Bob Marley walked through the heavy steel doors of America's most infamous maximum security prison, carrying his guitar and a simple belief that music could reach anyone, anywhere. What he didn't expect was that one angry inmate would challenge everything he believed about redemption, forgiveness, and the power of music to heal broken souls. If you love discovering the untold stories behind music history's most incredible moments, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell because we uncover the hidden gems that shape the legends we know today. The prison concert had been arranged by Warden James Mitchell, a progressive administrator who believed in rehabilitation through arts programs. When Bob's management mentioned they were looking for meaningful venues during their California tour, Mitchell jumped at the opportunity. "These men have lost everything," Mitchell had told Bob during their phone conversation. "Their freedom, their families, their hope. Maybe your music can give them something back." Bob had agreed immediately. "Music is medicine for the spirit, Warden. These brothers need healing more than anyone." 1:30 p.m., 30 minutes before the concert. Marcus Williams sat in his cell on death row, staring at the gray concrete wall he'd been looking at for the past 6 years. At 34, Marcus had been convicted of armed robbery and murder, crimes he committed during a drug-fueled rampage that destroyed 3 families and landed him on death row. Marcus had refused to attend the concert. He'd refused to participate in any prison programs. He'd refused therapy, refused to see visitors, refused to engage with chaplains. In 6 years, Marcus had built walls around his heart that were thicker than the walls of San Quentin. But the sound of instruments being tuned in the prison yard had drawn him to his small window. Against his better judgment, Marcus found himself curious about this Bob Marley character everyone was talking about. The other inmates had been buzzing about the concert for weeks. Some reggae musician was coming to perform. Marcus didn't care about music anymore. He didn't care about anything anymore. He was just waiting to die. 2:00 p.m., the prison yard. 800 inmates sat on metal bleachers in the prison yard, surrounded by armed guards and high walls topped with razor wire. The makeshift stage was nothing more than a platform, but Bob Marley stood there with the same presence he brought to Madison Square Garden. "Good afternoon, brothers," Bob said into the microphone, his voice echoing off the concrete walls. "I know this isn't the place any of you chose to be, but we're here together now, and music doesn't recognize walls or bars. Music recognizes hearts." Some inmates cheered. Others sat in sullen silence. A few guards shifted nervously, unsure how this would go. Bob started with Trench Town, Rock, and the effect was immediate. These men, many from poor backgrounds, many who had grown up in neighborhoods not unlike Trench Town, connected instantly with the music. Voices joined in, tentatively at first, then with growing confidence. Marcus watched from his cell window, 4 floors up. Even from that distance, he could see the change in the yard. Men who normally sat in hostile groups were swaying together. Men who hadn't smiled in years were singing along. It made Marcus angry. 2:30 p.m. Against every instinct telling him to stay in his cell, Marcus found himself walking down to the yard. A guard unlocked the gate to the death row section. Even death row inmates were allowed to attend, under heavy supervision. Marcus took a seat in the back, arms crossed, scowling. He didn't want to be moved by this music. He didn't want to feel anything. Feeling led to hope, and hope was a luxury men on death row couldn't afford. Bob was performing "No Woman, No Cry" when Marcus arrived. The lyrics about growing up poor, about struggle and survival, hit too close to home. Said I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown, observing the hypocrites as they would mingle with the good people we meet. Marcus's jaw clenched. This man, this Bob Marley, was singing about a life Marcus knew intimately. A life of poverty, of government housing projects, of watching good people get destroyed by a system that didn't care about them. But Marcus had chosen a different path. When life knocked him down, he'd chosen to knock back. Harder, meaner, until innocent people were dead, and he was waiting for the state to kill him in return. 2:45 p.m. Bob transitioned into get up, stand up, and something inside Marcus snapped. Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. Shut up! Marcus shouted, standing up in the middle of the song. Shut up with that fake hope bullshit! 800 inmates turned to stare. Guards moved toward Marcus, hands on their weapons. Bob stopped singing, but kept his eyes on Marcus. You don't know nothing about our lives, Marcus yelled, his voice cracking with 6 years of suppressed rage. You come in here with your pretty words and your guitar, telling us to stand up for our rights? Where were our rights when we were hungry kids? Where were our rights when the system threw us away? Security guards were closing in, ready to tackle Marcus and drag him back to solitary confinement. But Bob held up his hand, stopping them. What's your name, brother? Bob asked calmly. Marcus was breathing hard, tears of anger streaming down his face. My name is Marcus Williams, and I'm going to die in this place because I killed 2 people. So don't stand there and sing to me about hope, because hope is dead. The yard was completely silent. 800 dangerous men waited to see what would happen next. Bob set down his guitar and walked to the edge of the stage. Marcus, I hear your pain, brother. I hear your anger. You're right. I don't know exactly what you've been through, but I know what it feels like to be thrown away by the system. You don't know nothing, Marcus said, but his voice was quieter now. I grew up in Trenchtown, Marcus. Government housing, just like you probably did. I watched my friends get killed, get arrested, get lost to drugs and violence. I could have ended up where you are. The only difference between you and me is luck, and maybe music saved me before I made the choices that put you here. Bob jumped down from the stage and started walking toward Marcus. The guards tensed, but Warden Mitchell signaled them to stand down. Marcus, Bob said, now standing just a few feet away. I'm not here to give you false hope. I'm here to tell you that even in this place, even on death row, you're still a human being. You still matter. Your life still has meaning. Marcus broke down completely. 6 years of walls crumbled in seconds. I killed them, he sobbed. I killed 2 innocent people. How can my life have meaning after that? Bob reached out slowly and put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. Because you're here. Because you're alive. Because you can choose right now what kind of man you want to be for whatever time you have left. But I'm going to die, Marcus whispered. We're all going to die, brother. The question is, how do you want to live? Bob looked around at the 800 inmates watching this exchange. Marcus, I want you to come up on stage with me. What? I want you to help me finish this song. Not for me. Not for them. For you. For the part of you that's still alive inside. Marcus looked around the yard. At men who, like him, had made terrible choices. At guards who saw them as animals. At walls designed to contain the worst parts of human nature. Then he looked at Bob Marley, who somehow saw something worth saving. I can't sing, Marcus said, You don't have to sing beautifully, Bob replied. You just have to sing honestly. Marcus followed Bob to the stage, his legs shaking. 800 prisoners watched as a dead man walking stood behind a microphone for the first time in his life. This song is about standing up, Bob said to the crowd. Not just standing up against the system, but standing up to become the man you were meant to be. Marcus is going to help me sing it. Bob started playing Redemption Song, not Get Up, Stand Up, but something deeper, more spiritual. Old pirates, yes, they rob I sold I to the merchant ships. Bob looked at Marcus encouragingly. Marcus opened his mouth, and in a voice broken by years of silence and pain, joined in. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. The effect on the crowd was electric. Here was one of their own, not just any inmate, but a man from death row, singing about redemption alongside Bob Marley. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Marcus's voice grew stronger with each line. For the first time in 6 years, he was expressing something other than rage or numbness. He was expressing hope. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom, 'cause all I ever have redemption songs? When they finished, the yard erupted in applause that echoed off the prison walls. Men were crying, shouting, some were on their knees. Even some guards had tears in their eyes. Bob embraced Marcus on stage. Thank you, brother. You just taught all of us something about courage. Marcus couldn't speak. He just held on to Bob and cried for everything he'd lost, everything he'd destroyed, and maybe, just maybe, everything he could still become. 5 years later, 1983, Bob Marley had been dead for 2 years when Warden Mitchell received a letter addressed to the prison, marked for Bob Marley's family. The letter was from Marcus Williams, written just days before his scheduled execution. To the family of Bob Marley, my name is Marcus Williams. 5 years ago, your father and husband's son came to San Quentin and saved my life. Not from death row. I'm still here, still going to die next week. But he saved my soul. Before Bob came, I was already dead inside. I had given up on being human. When he put his hand on my shoulder and asked me to sing with him, he gave me back something I thought I had lost forever, the knowledge that I was still a person worth saving. These 5 years since that concert have been the most meaningful of my life. I've been tutoring other inmates. I've been counseling men who wanted to give up. I've been writing letters to the families of the people I killed, trying to give them some peace. Bob taught me that redemption isn't about escaping consequences. It's about choosing to be better than your worst moment, even if that moment destroyed everything. I want his family to know that Bob's music didn't just entertain people, it transformed them. It reached into the darkest place in America, death row in a maximum security prison, and pulled light out of darkness. I'm not afraid to die anymore, because Bob taught me that a life can have meaning even in its final chapter, even in a place like this, even for someone like me. Thank you for sharing him with the world. Marcus Williams, Death Row, San Quentin State Prison. Rita Marley kept that letter for the rest of her life. She would often read it to their children, reminding them that their father's music had the power to reach anyone, anywhere, even in the darkest places. The concert at San Quentin became legendary among California prison staff. Warden Mitchell implemented a permanent music therapy program, citing the dramatic change he'd witnessed that day. Recidivism rates at San Quentin dropped significantly in the years following regular music programs. Marcus Williams was executed on October 12, 1983. His last words were lyrics from Redemption song. None but ourselves can free our minds. Today, San Quentin's music room displays a plaque with Marcus's final letter and a photo from the concert. Bob Marley embracing a broken man on a makeshift stage, proving that redemption is possible anywhere, for anyone willing to reach for it. If this incredible story of second chances, redemption, and the power of music to heal even the deepest wounds moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that it's never too late to become a better person. Have you ever experienced a moment that completely changed your perspective? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more untold stories about the moments when music proved that hope can survive anywhere.